By the time you get to that, where you're competing for a gold medal in the Olympics, things take on a different identity. It's not about, you're not thinking about everything that's led up to that moment. That happens basically when you're on the winner's stand, all those crashing of emotions. It's more or less just, again, it's just making sure that there are no would-haves, could-haves, or should-haves when you step on the ice. It's like I did everything I possibly could to prepare for this moment. Now I have to trust the process. When you're just learning how to skate, everybody usually starts in public skates, like just the rental skates. We're going to get rental skates because we don't really know if we're in this. Why would I invest in something if we don't know we're going to do it for a long time, right? So back then, the leather rental skates were kind of wobbly, and at that point, everybody said, "Well, I can't skate because I have weak ankles," right? Because the skates have been used so many times that they just don't have any support left in them. So basically, since the beginning of time, rental skates have been the bane of my existence. Like, there's nothing about rental skates that I like, nothing. The blades are wrong. The boots are meant to last, for 4,000 usages, so they don't allow, the foot to fit in it right. People go, I can't skate because it was a bad experience. I came away with blisters or this, or I couldn't skate. And then when you watch people walk up the stairs, the cement stairs in their blades, you're going, stop. It's just like, the blades themselves have to be of a certain level of sharpening and a certain quality in order to work properly. The boots themselves have to fit properly in order for people to be able to skate well. So what I tell people now when they're in rental skates is I say, I used to be pretty good. Don't be disheartened because I can skate to save my life if I were wearing those boots right now. And this is going to be your only experience. So, the boots and blades thing is really important to me because, again, it's everyone's idea of whether or not they're able to skate, whether or not they're any good at it, whether or not they should even try to pursue it. And if the only time they really make that decision is when they're in rental skates, we're all in trouble as an industry, right? So when I get on the ice with Learn to Skate, when I see especially adults that they're out there and they're just struggling, right? They can't, their feet are sliding out from under them. They're uncomfortable. You can just tell they're in pain. I say, when you make the commitment to get your own skates, everything in your skating experience will change instantaneously. You'll be able to do things that right now you cannot do, as much as you're doing everything right to be able to do them. And you're going to improve so much quicker because now you're able to actually do things because you're in equipment that's actually conducive to skating better and to being able to learn things and to be able to apply what you learn onto the ice. So the whole idea of getting skaters into the right skates to wherever they are in their in their experience in their skating life is really important. And if their only experience is rental skates, we're all in trouble as an industry. Well, Risport, it's a great company. It's the pricing is perfect. The quality is just right. John Coughlin, right, came to me, and John Coughlin is a U.S. national champion pair skater, and he's probably one of the nicest people anyone will ever. How do you say no to John Coughlin? You just don't, right? So when John came to me and he said, we'd like to do a branded skate, and I just sort of looked at my watch and I said, okay. I started skating 50 years ago. Why is this conversation just now taking place? And it was, honestly, he just came to me and he said, you're building a Learn to Skate, you're having skaters that are coming from Learn to Skate and now launching into competitive skating. We've got to fill those gaps. We've got to make sure that there's an identifier there that not only goes with people that are wanting to now become figure skaters, but where they want to be able to do more things and be more competitive. And to me, it was sort of an answered prayer. That right now there's entry-level boots, there's things out there in the marketplace. But if I'm branding this skating academy, if I'm branding this kind of new Learn to Skate style of, you know, really getting into the community and creating, you know, a destination for people that want to come and learn to skate however they want to do it. But knowing that is a certain percentage of those are now going to be going into hockey, some are going to stay in recreational, and others are going to go into figure. How do we look after those people that want to skate better and then really want to stay within our identity? And it was perfect for us to launch the Scott Hamilton boot and blade, you know, to get it out there into the community, where it allows those skaters that now want to be competitive to get into a boot that's a little bit stronger for them to be able to do more things, and at the same time it's comfortable. You can break it in, and you know, in the blade is just enough flatter from where they're going to be going and where they get into the higher levels of competition to where they're going to be able to improve at a greater rate, but at the same time not putting them into something where they're going to be, you know, always a little bit unsure. So we're meeting the consumer where they are, and I think that's really important to do that. It's like, here's where you are in your skating development, and here's the perfect solution for you right now. I think, you know, you want skaters to develop, you know, organically. You want them to develop on their own rate and their own speed and their own, you know, with their own levels of commitment. And again, equipment is a big part of that. So if you want a skater to go from, you know, whether it's freestyle 1 or 2, and when they're getting them into now more of the testing and more competitive, you know, skating, I really feel like, you know, they need to, if they're going to be at that level of skating, at that level of that level of accomplishment, now they need to be able to go, okay, now where am I with my equipment? You know, if you know, we've all been to you know, bowling alleys where we put on shoes that have, you know, they don't even slide anymore in the lane. You know, how are we going to be able to launch the ball when we're tripping over our own feet? When we get into, you know, going out for you know, any other, just sort of, you're just trying something out to try it out, the equipment's not going to be very good, you know. So now we're at a place in our activity, whatever that is, where we need to get to a place where now, well, at least our equipment will be able to do what we ask it to do. And that's kind of the idea behind this skate is, you know, we want skaters to improve, we want them to get better, we want them to be able to try new things, we want to, you know, keep that incentive in front of them, and to have the right boot blade combination for them to be able to accomplish those goals is really important. We're all about the joy of skating, the joy of ice, the joy of learning. You know, a lot of people, you know, whether or not they have a bucket list that they did, a lot of them would put on there, I want to learn how to skate, because it's fun. It's really great to be able to go out there and skate and be sure on your feet, and to be able to turn and stop and start and go backwards. I think a lot of people have that desire. They'd really love to have that in their lives, to be able to know that when they're going to go out as a family and do something, whether it's daily, seasonally, or over the holidays, that they have a proficiency for being able to go out there and be safe and to do things and to be competent and to enjoy it, right? So with us, it's, you know, we have the capacity to bring people into competitive sport, but we also have the capacity to really just, again, meet people where they are. They want to get on the ice, they want to do something with their kids, they want to do something, whatever. Kids want to learn how to skate, parents want to share it with their kids, whatever that is, we're going to create a foundation of joy in what we do, so that when anybody comes out, it's something that's pleasurable. We want people, the second they walk through the door of the building, to put a smile on their face and to know that whatever's going to happen the next 2 hours, it's going to be fun. Oh, usually in any situation, in any decision or transaction, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is price. What is this going to cost me? How much is this going to cost? And honestly, you know, to get into a competitive boot, to get into something that will take them through their first years of competitive skating, to get it up where it's not going to break the bank. You know, it's like when you're looking at a competitive boot, for the highest level people, either Nathan Chen or whoever that is, or, if you want to be, the next Zagitova or whoever it is, there's a price point there. That you don't have to worry about that. Not today. We're going to get you into a really good quality boot at a reasonable price, where you're giving yourself or your child or your loved one the ability to learn and grow without it absolutely breaking the bank. It's like you're not going to go from your first date to the altar, right? So there's some dinners there and there's some movies. We got to get you in a way that we want you to understand that whatever your commitment is, we want to meet you where you are. And those first few years of competitive skating, or those first few years out of Learn to Skate, are extremely important as far as your overall joy and your overall success in the sport. So we want to create a price point and a quality that will allow people to meet those goals. It's funny, I tell people all the time, I go, do you remember learning how to walk? And they go, no, I don't really remember learning how to walk. I go, and you do it all the time, right? They'll get to a point when you do it something enough where you don't think about it anymore, and it's the same with skating. So for me, it's really fun when I see a sheet of ice to know that I can just step on it and I'm totally competent to be able to get on and turn and skate and get some speed up and to feel that cool air in my face. And to be able to share that with my children is a blast. And now my youngest is a hockey player. He is, he's on the other side of the sport, which is great. He started off as a figure skater, so when he went out to play hockey, he could actually really do it, which is another part of this, is when you're starting to skate, you really want to feel sure on your feet. You don't want it to be where it's almost like an alien feeling between your foot and the ice. You want it to feel like you're in control a little bit, right? It's still moving, it's still slipping, it's still, you're building those little muscles that support the big muscles, right? Your big muscles are really fine to skate. It's just those little muscles that coordinate that sliding and that moving that you really need to develop, and that's repetition. So when you first get on the ice, you should feel really good about how your foot feels on the ice, and so much of that is the quality of skates you're in. It really is. So getting on the ice for the first time, you want to make sure you have good, decent equipment. Rental skates aren't always ideal. However, getting on the ice for the first time, you want to just take it slow. Like anything else, you just take it slow. Your first few steps, aren't going to be full out. They're going to be smaller steps. And the way we get people skating is, we get them get them on there, teach them how to fall down, how to get up. Because we're skaters, we're going to fall down and get up. I've fallen over, low estimate, 41,600 times, right? You get up, it's no big deal. The more you get up, the more the confidence you have that, the worst thing that's going to happen is you fall down. You're just going to get up again, right? So the idea is to know how to fall, know how to get up, and to really just slowly build that confidence and ignite those little muscles that support the big ones. And that can only come through skating. And for me, your best chance of doing it well out of the gate is to make sure that whatever is going on your feet is good enough to give you a chance, to give you a good chance of enjoying every moment out there, and then feeling, it doesn't take long to be able to get out there and move around really well. It's just how you do it. And that's kind of what we teach in the Skating Academy, is we teach you how to learn, how to take in those concepts, and a lot of that is just through, you start with getting on the ice, and then you start moving a little bit, and then you start with marching, and then you start with stomping, right? And then pretty soon you're doing sculls, you're learning how to use your edges, then you're learning how to do it backwards. And then pretty soon you're able to push, get on one foot and glide, and it's just the slow, kind of methodical, not even slow really, depending on your athletic ability. It's a methodical skill set that you're learning one step at a time. So main thing is get a decent pair of skates. And the next thing is just, you know, slow and steady wins the race. But the idea of that is steady. You know, you want to keep moving forward and you want to learn, you want to grow. And it just starts with that very first step.
That's amazing. That's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for having us for this interview.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And
love that. See that? There it is.
There it is.
The 8.
It's absolutely amazing. All right. Thank you so much, Scott.
Oh, thank you.